What's up, you guys? It's VDX. I'm out of town right now, recording from a hotel room, but I had to cover patch 2.03 dropping. Now, you may have caught the Tekken talk beforehand. There wasn't much news. So if you didn't see it, that's why I didn't do a video, is because there really wasn't much that you missed. But in this update, there will be 5 more character loading screens. I think that's worth noting. You have to go to the Tekken Lounge and fight the ghost of, I believe, the artist who created these loading screen portraits. I think the Deviljin one is sick. I think the Zafina one is sick. But shout outs to all the fan artists who get their art into Tekken. I think that even though the game is going in a lot of directions that are making people unhappy, bringing in actual fan work is really cool. And I'm always really excited to talk about that specifically. In any case, we have update 2.03. If you were expecting a gigantic patch that fixed everything, that's not what this is. However, they continue to take tiny steps in the right direction. And I know you're probably tired of hearing that over and over again. But I will say that the consistency is probably what's most important. With how much trust the community, I think, lost and how much faith they lost in the development team after the Season 2 180, where they said it was a defensive patch, and then we got one of the most offensive patches ever. I think it's pretty important that they continue to take steps in the right direction, even if they're tiny. Obviously, I would hope that the game would be improved more quickly, but we have to take what we can get, right? That's how I feel anyways. If you're wondering, is this the time to come back to Tekken? I think it'll depend. Is your character in a place where you're still having fun playing them? Because that's going to be the main determining factor. A lot of characters are pretty unfun to fight against, so having fun piloting your character is where the primary fun of the game is going to be. I'm also sick, out of country and sick, but we're going to make it through this video. Something that was a pleasant surprise to me was that they walked back the buffs on the characters. As announced in the previous patch notes, we originally planned to implement buffs for several characters that would have minimal impact on the overall battle balance. However, after careful consideration, we decided to limit the scope of this adjustment to Deviljin only, in order to keep the impact on the overall balance to a minimum. So I'm happy to see them walk back the desire to buff more characters. Part of the frustration in Tekken 8 is that fighting against an enemy character feels impossible. Defending against an enemy character feels impossible, to the point that you're better off just running your own offense, right? Buffing characters does not feel like the solution to that, where fighting an enemy character is so frustrating that you need to just swing harder and faster. So I like the idea that they're going with here. At the end of this video, we'll also watch some Fahkumram gameplay that they showed at the Tekken Talk a day before these patch notes came out. Obviously, by the point you're watching this video, there will be streamers and YouTubers who are playing the character, and you can get more from them. But if you wanted to see my first reactions to the character's gameplay, that'll be available at the end of this video. All right, that's the TLDR. Big changes. I've kind of noted them all in the notes below here, and I've put big stars around what I think are the most relevant changes. A lot of the patch notes this time around are tons of like stability fixes on hitboxes to make things more consistent, which is cool if you're a pilot of the character, but doesn't really affect you if you're fighting against that character. So I've tried to note the things that make the biggest difference. In terms of system changes, we have Rage Art now at -18. This is designed so that every character can now launch punish it. The rationale they explained for this is because Rage is triggering at higher health thresholds with the 200 HP buff, right? We used to have 180, now we have 200. So situations where you used to get a guaranteed kill after a blocked Rage Art, like throwing somebody, is no longer a thing. On top of that, when you're in heat state, all damage you take is gray health. So you're able to dip into rage health and then heal a bunch and theoretically have rage with like 50% HP, if not more. So it's become a situation where blocking a rage art, they felt the reward needs to be higher. -18 is the threshold where I believe every character can launch a blocked rage art. Other tiny thing is in a previous patch, they fixed 1+2 throw breaking, where if you tap the buttons separately, or you didn't use a bind, you manually hit 2 buttons. It used to be prohibitively strict to try to break that way. So they made the inputs more lenient, but as a consequence, there was a bug where you could option select multiple throws by plinking it. Obviously, that was unintended, so they fixed that bug. Those are the 2 main ones. Now it's time for character-specific bug fixes. Again, I'm happy to see nerfs to plus frames for every character, including my own characters. I will be celebrating those And I think that it makes for a more fun game overall. You will also hear me pushing for more nerfs where I feel like there weren't enough. That is not an attack on a specific character or character base. It's with the desire to bring Tekken into a place where it's more fun to fight against more characters, right? Including my own. So that's my disclaimer. Let's go through the changes. Alisa, key buff or key nerf here is dual boot forward 1+2, the Hello World, where she goes into chainsaws and, you know, spins with both arms. Used to be +7, now it's +4 on block. I think those plus frames are still significant. Yes, she's in stance, but I would like to see plus frames adjusted overall. Actually, another big one is that her slide kick from dual boot and single boot, where she flies in the air at you and then does a quick slide, it's no longer low parryable ever. It was a bug where it was low parryable before in the later active frames. They've taken that out. So airborne move, not low parryable. That's what's expected. Still kind of crazy to me, but it's their design. Anna has received a significant amount of changes. Her launch, her release state was pretty crazy, and I think we're kind of fortunate, as if you don't play Anna, we're fortunate to have seen Atif in recent tournaments kind of showcase what late stage Anna offense looks like. He learned the character so fast and was able to abuse a lot of her overpowered offense very effectively, right? So that's not to take away from his win. I think it's very impressive to pick up any Tekken character within a month and be world class. Okay, that's really difficult. So thanks to him, we've gotten to see what is really overpowered about Anna, and she gets adjusted more quickly. Hammer Chance 2-1-2 and Hammer Chance 1+2 are now +2 on block instead of +6. They no longer reversal break, and the chip damage is down. This is really relevant because this move put her in crouch. So she had a plus frame full crouch mix-up. That is really unconventional for Anna. Anna usually goes into crouch with mental frames, like canceling a string or taking advantage of you dealing with some of her offense, and then she's suddenly crouching and mixes it up. Getting true plus frames into full crouch is really wild. So I am a big fan of this change. The plus frames in general are crazy to me. For example, her still having +6 on down back 4 is wild. But this is, again, a tiny step in the right direction. A very lowercase baby step in the right direction. The rest is hurtbox fixes and input fixes, as well as her parry, her automatic low parry from Chaos Judgment. If your opponent does an airborne hit, like that Alisa slide we just talked about, she'll get, Anna will get a tornado if she low parries with that. So just a quality of life thing. All right, Asuka. Asuka is a crazy character. I know I didn't get to stream the mix-up because I've been out of town, but if you didn't watch the mix-up, Asuka put on a clinic piloted by Tibetano. Again, no discredit to the player, but these players are really good at showcasing what makes these characters really obnoxious to deal with. The Rage Art charge up mechanic and Asuka unique mechanic has been nerfed. She can still charge it up. It does less pushback now, but now it's -13 on block. So I assume there's still the mind game of sidestepping it and getting clipped if she partially charges it, or letting her charge all the way, but at least now you get a punish if she charges all the way. It used to be +3 on block. I did not know that. I saw +3 in the frame data when I labbed it, and I kind of just glossed over it because of the pushback. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm +3, or like I wasn't paying attention to the side, but there's so much pushback, you can't take advantage of it. I didn't realize that she had frame advantage for charging her entire Rage Art. Few bug fixes on her parries and the counter hit window. Wow, I can barely speak. Forgive me. When she started up her parry, if you hit her before the parry went off, there was a counter hit effect. Apparently that was unintended, so they removed that. Nani Wagusto up forward 1-2 also no longer gives a guaranteed follow-up, I believe, so that's a big change as well. Azucena has some bug fixes to her moves that you'll only really notice if you play her, but here's a big one. Bryan. His heat smash is no longer +15, it's +9. +15 is a wild number. They were handing out double-digit numbers like crazy in Tekken 8, so this is a good change. But the big one is Snake Eyes 3+4-2. So 3+4 is the big mid counter hit kick. I don't know why I use my fist. I can't stick my leg up. And then he can charge up a right hand, and it either guard break wall splats or regular wall splats on partial charge. Now, it's no longer -1 on partial charge. It's -9. And you don't get the wall splat unless you go for a full charge. This is a huge nerf, and this is, well, huge nerf. The character's still good, right? But it's a nerf to one of his most oppressive, annoying tools. And I think changes like this need to be the standard going forward. A chatter is telling me that Starbreaker, a EU Bryan main, very strong specialist, shows that you can still do a pickup even though it doesn't wall splat cleanly. So he'll still get a combo without the full charge. It's just no longer a wall splat combo. So thanks for that detail, chat, coming in clutch here. But yeah, that's a huge change. Most, I think, changes in this scenario, like these charge up situations that you just kind of have to guess between, I'm glad they're changing these. And I'm going to follow up by saying that I'm glad they changed it on Clive too. Clive is a character that I saw recent success with at a regional in Albuquerque, Sandia Showdown. I went into the tournament with very little prep because I was prepping for the Sejam Slam in Street Fighter. I did no Tekken practice for 2 weeks, and I got third place using Clive in top 8. So I think Clive is really dumb, and I'm glad they're adjusting him in this way. His heat charge guard break string, forward 2-2-1, is now also -9 on block. It was +2. If you fully charge it, you no longer get the wall splat from 2-1. You only get, or the guaranteed 1+2, or the whatever other options. You only get +11, so you get a little knockdown at best. So this is a huge change to these unfair charge scenarios, and I am a big fan of it, even though it's touching my own character. Claudio is untouched. I know they hit him in a previous patch, but I would have liked to see more consideration for a lot of these situations these characters are putting you in, right? They did nerf his charge string sequence, but I still think the fact that it can be charged to different levels is a very, very wild mechanic to include. That's my conservative Tekken take, I suppose. Other Clive changes I think are interesting. Down 1 having more pushback on hit doesn't feel like a nerf to me. Maybe it's to make his like while standing 4 whiff after, but in general, Clive is a really good at ranges where other characters can't hit him, or they have to get in, right? So the fact that while standing 3 has reduced pushback on block, while down 1 has more pushback on hit, it feels kind of back and forth to me. Like, I get they're different situations, but I don't know necessarily that more pushback is a Clive nerf, right? Devil Jin. In my opinion, Devil Jin is designed in such a toxic way where, like, he really is such a casino 50-50 character that it's hard to balance a character like him. And if they make him too strong, people are going to complain a lot. So they have to tread lightly here. Here's what they did. While Standing 2 is now a 14-frame launcher. It was 15 frames. So that's a big change. That's a big change for Devil Jin. The rest are hitbox stability things, which, to be fair, I think were long overdue, even back in Tekken 7. And then they've made his combo with the while standing 3 have they gave a little quality of life buff to that combo route. CD3 plus 4 now accomplishes the same thing as while standing 3. Before, you had to specifically hold down 3, wave dash, and then hit 4 while holding the 3. Now they've just mapped that input. So I think that that's a nice quality of life change. It doesn't really make it much more it doesn't really adjust the difficulty. It's like players were doing it anyways. Let's just make it official. Dragunov is untouched. I really think having a while standing 12 frame heat dash launcher is still crazy, but they want him to have that, so he has it. Eddy, not many changes. Again, hurtbox and hitbox stuff. Feng, his guard break no longer is +12. That means he doesn't get the fish hook into the wall splat, the heat string. So now he only, I assume, gets back 1 if he gets the guard break. So change in what is guaranteed after guard breaking. Most characters, again, just hitbox stability on like 2-hit strings. Hurtbox changes. Jin Kazama had a bug where all these inputs would fail sometimes during a forward dash. So his right leg was like cursed. He couldn't like dash and do a right leg input, but only sometimes. So weird. Jun Kazama, not many changes. They have a 1-point Kazama Essence nerf. I talked about this when I reacted to this live, which you can check out the FDX Unhinged channel if you want to see. But I feel like Kazama Essence is a strangely designed install because she gets points and like buffs for doing moves she was going to do anyways. If you compare that to like a character like Clive, where he has to pick moves specifically to gain Zantetsuken meter, and those moves only deal gray health damage, they don't do permanent health damage, there's like a choice to be made. The moves have different properties, things like that. I think that if you're going to give characters buffs and installs, there should be more decision points and more things to do and think about when trying to leverage those mechanics, rather than having a situation where the character's just getting stronger for already doing what they were going to do. You know, And this is from talking to June players, right? Like it feels like you're getting essence for free as long as you're, landing hits, doing combos. So I hope they take a second look at that install. If not sooner, at least in Season 3. There was a reversal break bug with King's Muscle Armor 2. And then Alley Kick had a specific bug with the hitbox I'm not sure about, but they've addressed those. And by the way, I think that even though it feels like a big nothing patch, there's still a ton of problems with the game. If the Season 2 change were all of these hitbox and hurtbox fixes, we would have been chilling. You know what I mean? Like, if it was all nerfs going into Season 2 and hitbox and hurtbox changes, this is what we were kind of looking for. So it's kind of too late in the sense that it took all this time and we've had to have broken versions of the game to get here. But these are the kinds of changes, at least the people that I talk to tend to want. So, again, it's weird because a lot of us feel like it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not happening quickly enough, but the changes are objectively going in the right direction. Timing is very important, obviously, but it's just a frustrating place to be in as a Tekken player. Kuma Panda, again, hitbox and hurtbox changes. Lars Heat Smash had like a frame data display bug fix. It's like literally the same frame data, but they changed the way the opponent behaves on block to fix the display. I have no idea what was going on there. Law's Heat Smash sometimes didn't trigger stage gimmicks if you whiffed the first hit and the follow-up went through. Lee's little Heat Smash like bug exploit type thing where the first kick would go off and he wouldn't do the follow-up hits and then you could Heat Smash again. That one has been fixed. Leo had a bug that I didn't know about where if he went into K&K stance where he lifts his knee up and his arm goes up. I can't get my knee in the camera. He lifts his knee up. The opponent could duck like a follow-up early, so they fixed that. Again, I didn't know that was a thing. And again, more stability fixes. Apparently, Leroy's Hermit wasn't parrying some lows. Lidia, Stalking Wolf 4, her low from Wolf Stance is this one. Okay? Fist up like this. So she like kicks your toes and chops you. +5 on hit instead of +8. That's a significant nerf. Obviously, plus frames are still an advantageous state, but it's presumably those 3 extra frames will give you more ways to like sidestep or move. I haven't labbed the specific scenario with the new changes, but that's something to be aware of. She had a homing kick where she would jump in the air that was really skinny. So even though it was homing, people could sidestep it and their head ducking under would go under. They've fixed, presumably they've made the hitbox thicker so that issue won't happen. Lili, it doesn't seem like these are a bunch of changes. Standing 3 has different behavior on side and back hit, presumably to fix an issue where if you kick somebody's back at the wall, they'll turn around before the second hit can hit them. And apparently there was a Heat Smash tracking exploit from back turn, which I didn't know about. I should have been abusing that, but unfortunately I did not know about it. Nina. Biggest change, I think, is as a Nina player, Reverse Ivory Cutter will realign on the first hit. So it makes combos a bit easier. That's kind of a big change, especially if you go back to play Nina in older games, but that's kind of a niche issue. Paul, back 2-1, no longer counter hit launches on the second hit. You just get a guaranteed follow-up, and they've nerfed the charge damage. Reina, big change here. Her Heaven's Wrath 3+4, the big stomp, the lightning stomp out of Wrath Stance is this one. Sentai Stance is the spinny one. Okay, so Wrath Stance, after like her Hell Sweep, when she stomps, she's only 0. She was -5 in Season 1, and that was still in alignment with, I think, Tekken philosophy. If you pick at the tracking mid option, you should probably give up your turn, right? Well, in Season 2, they made it +3, and now it's 0 on block. So it's a step in the right direction. I think this move should still be minus. Yes, I know Reina players will complain at me, but I think that a tracking mid option should usually give up your turn. Now, down forward 1-2, the second hit had a bug where it would whiff even though the first hit connected. They said in the patch notes that they fixed this, but immediately while I was streaming, there was Twitter clips being sent to me about how it was still a bug. It wasn't fixed. So they'll have to take a second pass at that. Shaheen had a bug where sneak down forward 1 wasn't tracking sidestep left. It was intended to. They fixed that. Steve, frame data display change mainly. Down forward 2 ducking in where he does the counter hit mid punch and then weaves in, ducks in. It's not a weave, it's a duck. They just show the frame data more properly now. And then up back 2 used to sometimes slip under the opponent. It no longer does that. And the rest for Victor, Xiayou, Yoshimitsu are hurtbox and hitbox fixes. The big change for Zafina is that back 1+2 is no longer homing. I don't know how a move that would reach like 4 backdashes across the screen was ever a homing safe mid. So thank goodness we're here. How did that make it to the live server ever? The chip damage is down 2, which is good. And then if she has the Azazel Ball, the install, the buff, it's only +2 on block instead of +4. So you see what I mean, right? Like, these changes are in the right direction. If they gave Zafina the new move, back 1+2, and it wasn't homing in Season 2, that'd be fine. We're at a position where if this was the patch we got, like, if the patch we have right now is what we got for Season 2, the reaction would not have been as bad, I think. I think it still would have been crazy in a lot of ways. Paul still has the launching normal hit high from Deep Dive. As a brief example, Lili got a normal heat smash front facing. There's a lot of crazy stuff still in the game. Objectively, we're moving in a better direction. The problem is it's taking so long. And even though they're providing a stable environment for pro players, a lot of us are stuck here fighting unfun characters over and over in ranked and first to twos. So my recommendation is, if Tekken is still a game that you really are feeling and you really are engaged with, me personally, I've been trying other fighters. Street Fighter 6 is decently fun for me, but I'm still a Tekken enjoyer at heart. My recommendation is to find Discord communities to play with, hop in the Tekken Lounge. Longer sets make this game much more enjoyable than the first to two ranked grind. Quick match is the thing for sure too. That's my recommendation if Tekken is still that game for you. Oh, and I guess I should talk about some of the Tekken Talk stuff. So Altelier Yumia, we have a collaboration here that was fairly, to be honest, sad. So for this customization, they teased this as our, like, big collab. And what we get is Yumia's hair strand and a slime ball. That's it on Reina. That's it on Heihachi. In Atelier Yumia, they got Reina's full costume and a Heihachi slime. So I feel like we got the short end of the stick in Tekken, I'm not gonna lie. Especially given that they got Johnny, the artist, to show Reina in Yumia's outfit. So I feel a little bamboozled, to be honest. But, happy for Atelier Yumia players. They get a Reina costume. Happy for them. Yes, if you missed this Tekken Talk, you didn't miss much. There was a more in-detail Fahkumram video. So if you want to check that out, you can do that. And the Tekken Talk also showed one full round of Bryan versus Fahkumram. So I guess let's check that out now, and that's how we'll wrap up this video. Bryan versus Fahkumram.
So this is footage that some of the young kids on the dev team were playing around with both characters.
Young kids on the dev team. Alright, so Fahkumram is out now if you have the season pass. That's an early thing we just saw. He did a jet kick and it got sidestepped to the right. Jet kick used to be homing in Tekken 7. And because it has a guard break now, it being more linear is pretty important. Full charge guard break into Rama stance. And something that I personally feel right away is that the Rama stance animation is going to be really annoying if you see it multiple times in a match. There's a part of the game where he does it twice in a row, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get really annoyed. I'm going to get really annoyed seeing this happen to me over and over. Counter hit, cannonball straight from Bryan. Wall carry, wall break. He not in heat, so we can't get the heat dash there. Float from Fahkumram. Heat smash. Down forward 2-1, forward 1+2, and the new low.
In addition to the other routes that he has to get into that.
Yep. Fahkumram has a new advancing low that's +4 on hit. Okay, hatchet kick from Bryan. Oh, he tried to sidestep 4, but Bryan is out of there. Down forward 1-2 gets punished. Night Thunder. Off the standing 3. Down 4, launch punish. The Bryan player is ready to punish Fahkumram. That's good stuff. Being able to launch down 4 is pretty important. That's a new move. I've not seen that before. Sidestep on the cannonball straight.
He's got that new low now, which is
Teep kick, counter hit, guaranteed forward 1+2. Hell sweep with the follow up. No clean wall splat, but the running 3 does give a clean wall splat. Heat burst, heat dash. Running 3 does not connect there, but a 1-2 counter hit to close it out. All right. QCB1, hatchet kick. Bryan's still doing similar stuff, but now we know he no longer gets the same properties on the Snake Eyes charge move. Okay, down forward 3+4. That's a new Fahkumram move, I believe. Guard break, Rama stance into the unbreakable throw. I believe that will do floor break. That has floor break properties. Parry into Rama stance again. You see what I mean? Like, the stance is cool. He's aura farming. But multiple times in a match, I think it starts to get, you know, it might get old. So I'll be mashing, and I'll be probably dying from mashing. Anyways, I think this is, they actually got this from the trailer, or this is the trailer moment, right? Maybe not. No. This is just the same stage from the trailer. It does not stop the clock either. So this animation takes about like 3 seconds, from 37 to 34 by the time you get to regain control as the player. I guess outside of guessing your mix-up, right? A little quick time event. So the most promising thing about this trailer that I thought was pretty cool was this moment right here. Right as the second move, Fahkumram throws a jet kick at +4 and it gets sidestepped to the right cleanly, right? This is crucial. The fact that that move was homing in the previous game is criminal. In any case, I think that's the main thing that came out of the summer update video that was promising. Although me personally, I'm excited for the swimsuit outfits in 2.04 coming in August. Not this month, but the next month. Anyways, thanks for sticking around for the... My bad, I kicked my water bottle. Thanks for sticking around for this patch note coverage. We'll be back to regular videos from, you know, my regular studio setup shortly. But I appreciate you guys sticking around. I appreciate the chat for being here. And thanks for watching. If you enjoy this type of video, subscribe for more. Catch you in the next one. Peace.